Have you ever noticed that your dog tilts his head to one side when he's trying to figure out what you want him to do or when he doesn't understand something? Dogs tilt their heads for several reasons. It could be because they're trying to get a better look at something, or it could be because they're trying to figure out what you want them to do. Or maybe it's just because they're being cute. Whatever the reason, it's a behavior that's sure to melt your heart. So if you notice your dog tilting his head next time, be sure to give him some extra love. He deserves it. Tilting their heads is a common behavior in many dogs, but it can also be a sign of a more serious issue. If you notice that your dog is tilting his head more often than usual, or if he seems to be tilting his head in pain, then it's time to take him to the vet. So why do dogs tilt their heads? There are several possible reasons why your dog might be tilting his head. It could be because he's trying to get a better look at something. Dogs have excellent hearing, but their sense of sight isn't quite as good as ours. So if you ask your dog to do something that he can't see, like fetch a ball from behind the sofa, he might tilt his head to try and get a better look. It could also be because he's trying to figure out what you want him to do. If you're trying to teach your dog a new trick and he's not quite getting it, he might tilt his head in confusion. Or maybe it's just because he's trying to be cute. Dogs are masters at reading our emotions, and they know that tilting their head is a sure way to get us to give them extra love and attention. Another reason your dog might tilt his head is because he's anxious or stressed. If there's something that's making your dog feel uneasy, like a loud noise or a new person in the house, he might tilt his head as a way of trying to calm himself down. It could also be a sign of pain or illness. If your dog is tilting his head more often than usual, or if he seems to be doing it in pain, it's important to take him to the vet right away. It could be a sign of a more serious issue, like an ear infection or a problem with his eyes. How to stop your dog from tilting his head? If you're wondering how to stop your dog from tilting his head, the answer depends on why he's doing it in the first place. If he's doing it to get a better look at something or to try and figure out what you want him to do, then there's no need to stop him. It's perfectly normal behavior. But if he's tilting his head because he's anxious or stressed, then you'll need to work on calming him down. This might take some time and patience, but it's important to try because tilting his head could be a sign of a more serious issue. If your dog is tilting his head in pain, then you'll need to take him to the vet right away. Don't try to diagnose him yourself or treat him without professional help. A vet will be able to determine the underlying cause of his pain and recommend the best course of treatment. Can tilting your head be harmful to your dog? In most cases, tilting your head is not harmful to your dog. It's actually a normal and natural behavior. However, there are some exceptions. If your dog is tilting his head because he's anxious or stressed, then it could potentially be harmful to him. That's because tilting his head could be a sign of a more serious issue. If your dog is tilting his head in pain, then it's definitely harmful to him and you should take him to the vet right away. In general, though, tilting his head is not harmful to your dog and you should enjoy those adorable moments when he does it. How to train your dog not to tilt his head? As we mentioned earlier, tilting his head is a natural behavior in dogs, and it's not something that you should necessarily try to stop. However, if you're in the middle of training your dog and he keeps tilting his head, it can be frustrating. Here are a few tips on how to train your dog not to tilt his head. When you're training your dog, make sure that he's in a quiet place where he won't be distracted. Keep your commands short, simple, and to the point. Use positive reinforcement, such as treats and praise, to reward the behavior you want. Be patient and consistent with your training. It may take some time for your dog to learn, but don't get discouraged. If you give up, your dog will never learn. If your dog is tilting his head because he is trying to figure out what you want him to do, then it helps to be clear and concise in your commands. For example, if you want your dog to sit, don't just say sit over and over again. Say sit once and then remain still until he sits. Then give him a treat and praise him. If he doesn't sit, repeat the command and remain still until he sits. If he still doesn't sit, repeat the command and then give him a little push in the right direction. Once he sits, give him a treat and praise him. If your dog is tilting his head because he's anxious or stressed, then you'll need to work on desensitizing him to whatever is causing his anxiety. This might take some time and patience, but it's important to try because anxiety can be harmful to your dog. Is it normal for puppies to tilt their heads? Yes, it's normal for puppies to tilt their heads. It's actually a very common behavior in young puppies. They do it for a number of reasons, including trying to get a better look at something, trying to figure out what you want them to do, or just being playful. Most of the time, it has nothing to worry about, and it should go away as your puppy gets older. However, if you notice that your puppy is tilting his head more than usual, or that he seems to be doing it in pain, then it's important to take him to the vet. In most cases, puppies tilt their heads for innocent reasons, and it's just a part of their puppy charm. Just enjoy those adorable moments while they last, because before you know it, your puppy will be all grown up. As you can see, there are several reasons why your dog might be tilting his head. It could be because he's trying to get a better look at something, because he's trying to figure out what you want him to do, or just because he's trying to be cute. In most cases, it's a normal and natural behavior. However, if your dog is tilting his head more than usual, or if he seems to be doing it in pain, then it's time to take him to the vet. So next time you see your furry friend tilting his head, take a close look at his ears and eyes to see if everything is okay. And of course, give him some extra love and attention. After all, he is your best friend. We hope you enjoyed this video and learned a thing or two about why your dog likes to tilt his head. If you have any thoughts or experiences you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.